Coming to you live from Fire and Smoke Cigar Parlor.
6827A Lock Raven Boulevard, Towson, Maryland, 21286.
All right, so as you don't know, we're sitting here with Miss Shirley, the proprietor of this lovely establishment. So I want to thank you for allowing me to come in to do this interview with you today.
Thank you so much for choosing me. I really appreciate the opportunity.
So red shop, we have to come in.
Yes, red is my power color.
So for those of you who don't know, this is the Red Cigar Society that me and some friends started, and we decided because we like red. This is a red shop. We smoke cigars, and we decided to focus in on female entrepreneurs. So I decided to go out and start interviewing ladies and just kind of sharing the information that they have in regards to their business. So, you know, boss ladies. So speaking of boss ladies, we're here with Miss Shirley. So, before we get started, we want to know who is Shirley?
Who is Shirley?
What brought you up to this point?
Okay, so how do I make a long story short? I'm going to make the long story short as best as I can, but since I was a child, I had these dreams of all these things that I was going to accomplish. I was going to be a teacher, I was going to be a business owner, a soldier, a flight attendant. Basically, when I was young, every setting that my family put me into, I decided I wanted to do that. And I was in the 4th grade, and I told my teacher all these things I just told you I wanted to be. And she said, I don't think you can do all of that. Those things require very different kinds of education. I don't know if all of that is possible. And that became my field. So I went and got every degree for everything I wanted to be. I have a double bachelor's, I have a master's in education, a master's in business. I taught, I was nominated for Teacher of the Year. I worked for Fortune 500 companies like Bank of America, Comcast, Hertz, and was awarded Salesperson of the Year. I have like trophies this tall from Comcast. I then went on to be a flight attendant with American Eagle, American Airlines. I joined the Army Reserve while in college. So I literally done everything there was to do. Absolutely. And I taught 3rd through 5th grade in Chicago, St. Louis, and Baltimore.
And you're teaching it now.
and I absolutely. So it was a method to my madness. When I quit corporate and stopped and started to teach, I know that 9-year-old was my spark. So I wanted to be the spark for that age group. And they live their dreams. I'm in touch with some of the kids, and they are doing very well. But so my last thing was to open my own business. And so I had some little non-brick and mortar businesses, things, you know, sold art, did taxes, little things like that. But I wanted to have a brick and mortar. So when I retired from teaching in 2015, I went to open my own shoe store first. And it was just the wrong time in the wrong location, and I learned a lot from that first business. So my friends and I were sitting on a porch one day, on my porch, because I used to have these like porch Mondays. All my friends would come home and drink. I have a box of cigars for them. My little cigars. And we would talk about different things. And so one of my friends, his name is Cool Keith, he was like, so what you going to do next? I know you're going to do something next. And I'm like, and so this was a little bit before I opened the shoe store though. It was when I first retired. And he was like, what you going to do next? I said, well, I got this idea. like, you know how we smoking now, having a great time, and you can never, it's all these new laws now. You can't smoke here, smoking banned there. You can't bring food in. Drinks astronomical, in certain places. I'm thinking of opening a place where we can just go chill and smoke like we're doing right now. You can bring in your bottles, you can bring in your food. So I'm giving this whole rundown of my idea, right? And so it was him and his brother Reginald, everybody called him Man.
Oh, yes.
And they was listening intently. And so when I finally finished the spill, they both bust out laughing. I mean, hysterically. I'm like, what? That's not a good idea. What? They was like, Shirley, these places already exist. I'm like, what? And Bear was like, yeah, that's why I tell you to take pictures smoking your cigars. So I can put you in this cigar group called Baltimore 3 Cigar Divas, and I can put you in this. I can put you in cigar groups, but you always by yourself smoking. I'm like, what? I'm like, well, okay. So that day I took pictures and they put me in these cigar groups. And then Reginald said, Saturday, I'm going to take you to my Cigar Lounge. He took me out to Slogan. That was my first time at a cigar lounge.
Wow.
I had been smoking for 18 years at home, in a porch, on my porch, with family. My grandfather in South Carolina had tobacco farm. And all I knew when you got together, you got together at home, family gatherings, pulled out the cigars, my grandfather knew how to hand roll. When I had my first cigar with him, we didn't even have a color. He taught me how to light it. So that's my start.
All right, so we found out who Shirley was, which is an amazing story. I love when people tell me I can't.
The naysayers are such motivators. It's a lot of truth in what they say, haters make you greater. It's a lot of truth in that. But at the same time, I've learned to be somewhat empathetic towards those people. Because usually they try so hard to destroy you because they're so broken themselves.
Yes.
And so I've learned to be unbothered. I've learned to.
But sometimes it's hard not to
keep moving.
I would say we are females.
Yeah, it's hard not to.
Yeah, we're very sensitive people, but.
And I mean unbothered in a way where, okay, they hurt my feelings, but I'm not gonna let them hurt my faith.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I'll just, just try my best to let them roll off.
I understand. Trust me. I understand.
Yeah, you feel how you feel, and you make your decisions that, okay, this is not something I'm going to walk in anymore, but, you don't, as Michelle Obama said, you go high.
Right.
And you let them go low.
Exactly.
And you just keep on.
Which brings me to my next question. So you've been open now 3 years, almost 3 years. In January it'll be 3 years, right?
Well, technically in October it'll be 3 years. I gained the space in October 2017. And I was actually softly opened in November. My grand opening was January 6th.
I was going to say 16. I was in California. My brother was in town. I was like, no, I can't go.
Yes.
So now what has been some of the challenges of having, if you can like think of a clip note version of some of the challenges. Like when you first opened, did you have any problems with the neighbors, the city?
Oh, I am so blessed. Just so happened, the neighborhood association husband smokes cigars.
Okay.
It seems like it's always a woman who's the president of the neighborhood association, and they're very busy. And when I met her, and I live in the neighborhood. When I opened this, I lived probably 5 blocks away around the corner. And so I ran it by her, and she was like, "Oh my goodness, sounds like a club. I'm like, no, it's not a club. And she was like, yeah, my husband smokes cigars. He goes to the humidor and Hills.
Okay.
And so I met him. He was like, oh, yeah, it's great. You know, you're closer. Because, again, we were right in the neighborhood. And he said, he made it clear to her that it's not the same. So while I was building, I had that buy-in from the neighborhood association. A good thing about my shopping center, almost every business in this shopping center is ethnically owned. So we have Indian, we have African, we have Black owners, we have Hispanic, Asian. So I think there's only two businesses out of the 20 businesses in the shopping center that are not ethnically owned. Okay. So it's a very supportive cultural environment. You know, many times in business, the more diversity, the more creativity, the more collaboration, and the better a business is, the more diversity it has. That's been my experience in business. Not just as a business owner, but as a manager, as an officer in businesses. Diversity really makes things better. And so with that said, the businesses that was on either side of me, they supported whatever you need. I didn't get any complaints about smoke at first. Later on, the barbershop was like, what can we do differently? So I added in more exhaust and different things to accommodate them and make sure they were not being affected. Okay. So sometimes you just, you know, you gotta make the changes you can. And it was really good that they complained, because when I was trying to build out, I wanted, you know, to open up the ceiling and have exhaust, and my landlord didn't want any holes in the building. So I had to make adjustments and have like 14 different smoke eater systems because I couldn't put exhaust in. So even with the Purifan, the Blue Air, the Rabbit Air, all of these different smoke eaters, I often had large crowds. So it still got smoky. It doesn't matter how many smoke eaters you have. If you have 100 people in your lounge, you know. So the smoke spilled over, and so they complained to the landlord. And so I said, the only way I can remedy this is if you let me cut a hole in the building. So do what you gotta do. Okay. So the only bad thing to that, the budget I had at the beginning was different by this time. So I couldn't get the system that I wanted to invest in because that money had now already been dispersed to other parts of the business. But I got 4 exhaust fans in the front, 1 exhaust fan in the middle. When you're coming to this end right here, and it goes out the back and the side here, and then it goes out to the back door. So now I have exhaust fans, 6 rabbit eaters, electronic smoke eater in the middle of the room, 5 Purifans, a Blue Air system, and it will still get smoky. With brand new filters, it will still get smoky because often I have large crowds, and I will open the door and put a portable fan. So that tends to work, and that tends to work very well.
Well, I gotta say, I came when you first started, so I was here through all your transitions.
Right.
So yeah, I have noticed the difference.
Yes. Yes. Well, thank you for that. So that was like a problem. We got through it. The businesses next to me, Stoko's, New York Fried Chicken, they offer discounts to my customers. Lake Trout offer discounts to my customers. Stoko's will give me free ice, coolers. As well as New York Fried Chicken, I could take a little ice bucket over. So, I mean, we have a really good relationship. We stand in the back and collaborate all the time. So, even the furniture store, he gave me a stool for my counter. So we kind of talk and collaborate all the time. So I haven't had any problems with the neighborhood, and the biggest problem I had with people in the shopping center was the barber shop right next to me, and that has since been resolved.
Well, good. Well, you have an anniversary coming up.
Yes.
Well, it's kind of hard to do too many things.
Pandemic. It is hard, but luckily my shop is more than 2,700 square feet, and my and my capacity is like 160 people standing, and it is 90 people seated. So at 50% capacity, I can still have 40 people here. And at and if you go by standing room only, I can have 60 people here, 70.
And just for you guys who have not been here, she's done a very good job. I love your 6 feet sign. She's done a very good job. Of course, you got to wear a mask. She has, please stay 6 feet apart, a little social distancing, and I'll take pictures of different things so you'll get to see it at the end. But she's done a great job here. So if you guys haven't, you can social distance. She has a little outside patio. You can come check her out. I just got an email that you're doing Margarita Mondays.
Yes.
And she does Ladies Night Wednesdays. And so definitely, if you guys haven't had a chance to stop in, make sure you come to 6827 Suite A, Lock Raven Boulevard, Towson, Maryland.